Greetings, good evening, and welcome to Zambia Innovates, or as we like to call it, Z-Innovates, a show where technological innovation, digital solutions, and education and learning tools all intersect and collide. Also, this is a show that keeps you in the know of everything digital. Tonight, I am your host, and my name is Onechi, and we have a very exciting program lined up for you tonight. We have a very special guest in studio who's giving us an exclusive interview, and I'm going to be introducing him very shortly. A very special guest, and we really want you to remember that you need to be a part of this conversation. So as we go on with the discussion, please take note of all our socials and all the ways that you can contact us, the phone numbers on the screen, and be a part of this conversation with us tonight. And hopefully together we can be the change that we want to see digitally in our society. Well, I'm just going to go straight into introducing our guest, but before I do, you may or may not know that Zambia currently is undergoing a digital revolution, and it is very exciting, really. From advancements that you're seeing in the uptake of digital mobile payments with MNOs and traders across the board, and institutions such as COMESA actually spearheading the creation of policy that is being adopted, policy frameworks that's being adopted by governments across the region, including one very interesting innovation that is coming up that is standardizing cross-border trade with a single digital payment solution. This coupled with service providers such as Starlink and Meta taking strides in providing very cheap, high-speed, and easily available internet connectivity across Zambia and Africa. It's a very exciting time to be alive. And the Minister of Science and Technology, Mr. Felix Mutati, is on record and has given speeches emphasizing the importance of digital and financial inclusion for rebooting Zambia's economy and job creation. So I say all that to preface my introduction of our incredible guest, Engineer Kefas Kalembo, the proprietor, CEO, and president of Z-Study and Hero Control Systems. These two institutions are homegrown, organic Zambian companies that are making incredible strides in digital and tech. And they are providing the backbone of infrastructure for some of the things that we are hoping to see in this Zambian digital revolution. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Engineer Kefas. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Onechi. It's a pleasure to be here. And thank you so much, viewers. I'm looking forward to the show.
Excellent. Wonderful. So, shall I call you, can I call you Kefas? Or should I call you Engineer Kalembo?
Kefas is fine.
Okay, Kefas. So, Kefas, I mentioned that you run two very interesting and exciting institutions, one being Z-Study and Hero Control Systems. So could you tell us a little bit more about the story of how these two entities came to be?
Thank you so much, Onechi. So Hero Control System came about as a result of inaccessibility to companies that can provide electronic design and hardware in Zambia.
Okay.
So this started when I was just in my university days. I wanted to build something, but I couldn't find a company that can help to do that. So I started that. So the problem, we provide a solution to start Hero Control Systems. And basically with Z-Study, I think for those who are a little bit older enough, they know that we used to learn on radio. There's something that used to be called Taonga Market,
Right.
way back.
I didn't know that.
Okay, I see. Yeah, so it's from that advent of trying to distribute learning and digitize it in a way that the passion to start Z-Study came from. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So let's talk a little bit about the digital shift, the big digital vision, okay? So in recent years, Zambia has seen a surge in technological advancements, obviously, and especially in the education sector. So in your opinion, what has been the most transformative digital tool or the biggest innovation for Zambian educators and students? And why do you think that that is the big tool?
Oh, yes. That is quite a broad question. I'll take you back before COVID and days before that. We could notice that those people who are working and those who are running businesses, when they want to go back to college or to university to further their studies, usually they had to go physically and attend what we call residentials. And before residentials come, they could be sent with all kind of materials, which they used to call modules, so that you could be doing self-learning at home. And then when time to go and attend class, maybe in a compressed 2 weeks, you'd notice that people would go now and attend residentials, and then they quickly go through whatever that they didn't understand and then write the exam, right? But then we have noticed that as multimedia digital applications have improved, that is no longer the case. You can attend your class just by being home or in your office, right? I usually attend my master's class in my office just around here. Yeah. So for me, one thing that I've seen trying to grow around education is the ability to adopt digital tools. That is simplifying the learning process. And these things culminates to tools like Z-Study as an example, where we are trying to provide an ecosystem of digital tools that educators can use in trying to kind of bridge the gap and reduce the digital divide in terms of the learning to learners of all different kind of backgrounds. Yeah.
Okay. I think we can both agree that Zambia is a greenfield, Africa is a greenfield for tech and its innovation. So it's exciting to hear all the opportunities that obviously the challenges have created, okay? Now, I wanted you to talk a little bit more about those challenges, and if you could share a significant challenge that you've observed or experienced while trying to integrate technology into education.
Yeah, so there are many challenges in Africa, particularly in Zambia. So these challenges come from different fronts. So particularly for Zambia, you could notice that we have about 2 million to 3 million people have got access to internet. And then these digital tools that we're talking about, in order for them to properly work, they need internet connectivity.
Of course.
So that already is a challenge that we have there. So coming from a background of building digital tools that we're trying to help learners and reduce the digital divide, some of the things that we have noticed being challenging is the fact that we do not have robust networking system in Zambia, especially spanning into rural parts of the country. So one good example I could give is that whilst working with the Ministry of Science and Technology, particularly with the National Science and Technology Council, we went to the the northwestern province to try and integrate Z-Study in most of these schools. But one thing that we found there, which was quite challenging, was that the internet connectivity is not there, and the infrastructure are very poorly and loosely arranged. So such are challenges that you might, and also just to just even bring it home, even those who are not using a tool like Z-Study, like if you're using tools like Zoom to attend a class, right, there are many times when you're disconnected to the other end, right, and you keep, can you hear me? And all that. So those are some of the challenges that we are facing with regards to that. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned Zoom, right? And this is obviously a tool that was developed in the Western world, and we've adopted it even through COVID. Zoom became the go-to. So my question to you then is, looking at Zambia and what we have going on here, because Z Story and Hero Systems, these are Zambian companies. And I'm sure that the solutions that you're creating are not just for Zambia. I'm sure you have a broader scope of that being rolled out to Africa and the world. So where do you see the future of technology and education converging in Zambia? Are there any emerging trends or innovations that you think will redefine how we approach learning in the next decade and even beyond?
On that particular note, Onechi, it's not even a decade. We are here already.
All right.
All right. I'm very passionate about JETS. So JETS, for those maybe you might not be aware, is Junior Engineering Technician and so on.
My first thought was the plane. I'm like, jets.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, maybe are you going to Dubai? Okay, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. So this is something that has been there for quite a long time. I think it started in the early 50s. So what I've seen a trend being in this is that in my days when I was in my secondary school, we used to focus, our innovation usually were centered around renewable energy, all right? This time around, when you go to these JETS conferences and summit, maybe national fairs, you find that children are focusing more on programming, robotics, AI, all right? But then the problem with that is that the teacher and the education curricula and things like that are not ready to quickly update and converge with the needs of the children. And the challenging thing is that these children are coming from a background and a society where they have access to internet and they can easily adapt with things and the information is much available. So the synergy point of education and technology is already here, okay, because this is reducing the gap of acquiring things like information, which wasn't the case in the old days. So we are already here.
Do you see a time when maybe we could have an AI teacher teaching Zambian students in the rural spaces in local languages, and it's all AI? That just came to me like while you were talking.
It's very fun that you have brought that up. In the ecosystem of the digital tools that you're providing with Z-Study, we have got what we call Ask Z-Study. So that's an AI virtual tutor.
Wow.
All right. So we have developed this to be able to actually try and reduce what we call teacher-pupil ratio. This is a situation where one teacher ought to attend to 400 students.
Yes.
All right. So now this AI feature that you have developed will allow a child to be able just to interact with a computer, and then the computer will be able to respond like a tutor, and the child will be able to get the responses they want or the solutions they want.
That's incredible.
From that. So we already have that.
So it exists, and can Zambian students access this like today, like right now?
Like right now, just go to www.zstudy.co. Okay, click Explore and click on Ask Z-Study, and then you're good to go.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. That's incredible, and I think when the show is over, I'm definitely going to jump on that. And I just want to encourage everybody watching that we do have an active phone line, and we have our contact information on the screen. If you want to be a part of the conversation, please feel free to call in and let's have a chat. We have the engineer, Mr. Kalembo, in the studio, and let's continue this conversation. This is fantastic, fantastic. So we do have some news. Oh, hang on, I think we have a caller. Let me get them on, let me put them on. Oh, we lost the caller. We lost you. Do call back if you can. We're still here. So now I'm just going to quickly move along to our brief news segment, where we're going to have a rundown of trending topics in the world of tech and communication technology. Our first story is the big thing that everybody is talking about in the world of mobile phones. Wanderlust by Apple, the big presentation taking place on September the 12th, where the iPhone 15 is expected to be debuted for the first time. A number of sites have been running a few leaks about the phone, but Apple fans are marking their calendars because not only will the Apple 15 lineup be unveiled, but the Apple Watch series will also be unveiled to the public for the first time. And potentially the phone will feature a 3nm A17 Bionic processor, enhanced camera hardware, USB-C port, and a sleek titanium finish. Most of the vloggers and bloggers are very excited about the titanium finish. And of course, alongside that, the Apple 9 Watch series will have a faster processor. And of course, the Apple Watch Ultra will also sport a new titanium look. So you could look forward to that happening on September the 13th. We just had a call that came and went. Please do call us back. Would love to have a chat with you. And speaking of phones, Apple just couldn't hog the limelight to themselves. Google Pixel also gave a sneak peek of its upcoming devices, and they have run videos on YouTube where they've actually showcased the upcoming new Pixel devices, the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 8 Pro. And to match Apple's titanium, they are sporting a porcelain design, of course retaining the Pixel 8 Pro retains the 6.7-inch display, while the standard Pixel 8 is set to feature a slightly smaller 6.17-inch screen. And that's not all. Google also teased their Pixel Watch, just like Apple teased their watch, which of course pairs seamlessly with the Pixel phone, offering enhanced personalization. So Google's event where all this is going to be launched is taking place in New York on October the 4th. So for all the phone gurus and the phone heads, it's an exciting time for whatever new device you want to pick up. Last news story is, of course, Bethesda with their new game, Starfield, which has skyrocketed to unprecedented success, really. They have announced that in their opening frame, they had 6 million players online playing, which is a huge achievement and the most significant launch in Bethesda's history. So this automatically puts Starfield out in front and center above Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and other RPGs from Bethesda. And a further update revealed that they had 1 million concurrent players at launch. These numbers are staggering. And despite some of the controversy around pronouns that was trending the last week or so, it is available on Xbox Series X and S, and of course on PC. And Microsoft's Game Pass subscription service could be one of the reasons why they have such a huge number of players, but not necessarily having that many sales to match. And that just wraps up our look at the headlines of tech news. But since we have Engineer Kalembo in the studio, sir, I wanted to pick your brain on some of the things that are happening in the world of tech, because we've talked about other communication technologies. So gaming and education. Given the massive success of Starfield and the numbers that they have, how do I say this? Do you see a link between gaming and our local school curriculum? Could a gaming platform be utilized for learning experiences to Zambian pupils and students? Oh, just before you answer that, we have a call coming in. Let me just get the caller on. Good evening, hello, you're through to CBC, a Z-Innovates show, and you're live on the air.
Okay, yeah, talking to Moses.
Hello, Moses. It's so good to be speaking to you. Give it.
Okay. I'm calling about the program which is on TV, which is the same Z study. I've seen there's a program which is being introduced by Mr. Yamata Kalumbu.
That is exactly correct. Please go
Okay.
ahead.
I just wanted to find out about. Actually, I'm calling from Senanga.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic.
Yes. So I don't know if I'm live right now or maybe.
Sir, you are live on the air.
Okay. Okay. So Mwata Kalumbu.
Yes, sir.
That's you.
Yes, I heard you talked about the Z study, trying to compare it to a teacher or something like that. You were mentioning something to do like the impact that it might bring if it's really taken to, out there. I don't know if it's even out there in the education sector or something like that. Yeah, like in terms of the teacher-pupil ratio, like to bring that, kind of a situation. Now, I'm trying to look at the Z study. This is a program, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm trying to look at it as how can a Z study teach a learner holistically and practically in terms of, because if you look at what the teacher, does in terms of teaching a learner, there's a lot that a teacher like that. And I'm looking at the Z study, though I just jumped, at the time I was just running through channels that I found that there was this program. I didn't really got exactly what the Z study, what it actually really do. But by the end of the day, I'm trying to look at it. This is something which is digital, and this is a teacher who actually would teach a learner in, all aspects. So I don't know how the Z study can really help learners out there. Maybe you can just try to break it down and really explain so that, we can really get what it really does. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the call, and all that's coming all the way from Senanga. So, do you have a response?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, thank you so much for calling. Mwata. So, basically, what we are saying is Z study is not a teacher. I should clarify that from the onset. And it's not here to replace a teacher, right?
Okay.
It's a tool that a teacher can use to enhance their work, all right? At the same time, it's a tool that learners can use to enhance their learning experience. So we are not saying Z study is here to replace a teacher. I think we should clarify that from the onset.
Okay.
But just to give a little bit of a background, Z study is an ecosystem of educational tools. So you have tools from hardware, which you can put in your laboratory and be able to use. And in addition to that, you have got software where you can be able to perform experiments. We are calling it Z Study Virtual Lab. So most of these schools do not have these equipment. Now we are taking this into a virtual space where it will be cheap, and it is going to afford every learner to be able to interact with some scientific experiments that they may not be able to do because of the cost, right? So all in all, these are tools that we are exposing in the hands of the teacher. They are tools that we're exposing in the hands of the learners just to improve the experience of learning and also the experience of teaching. Yeah.
And as somebody who went to a Zambian government school, where we had limited access in the chemistry lab, we didn't have the beakers, we didn't have the chemicals, the idea that we could have actually run simulations is staggering. So Z study is not replacing the teacher, but is only enhancing the educational experience for students across the country. Excellent, excellent contribution. And please, do call in if you have any questions for the engineer about Z study, about Hero Systems. Please do try to get through with a call. So now I'm going to bring you back to a question. It was a long question. I'm not going to ask it again. But in summary, gaming and education in Zambia, do you see any interaction?
So this concept is called gamification, right? So gamification is a concept of using games to learn. Okay, it's probably not very popular in Zambia right now, but this is where the learning is going. And why so? The attention span for a learner and just any person right now has been highly reduced due to a lot of information. People are living today processing a lot of information as compared to the 50s and 40s, right?
True, very true.
Yeah, so now what you're trying to do is that let's find ways in which we can actually improve the learning experience, the learning process by using games, because games are going to attract learners, and they'll be committed because they'll be learning as if they're playing. So the concept of gamification is important, and it's a new advent in education. Probably it's not yet adopted as wide in Zambia, probably in private schools. It might be there, but in public schools, I believe this is not there. But it's quite an important concept. I should emphasize on that.
Genius.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, we are running slightly over time. So I have one last question for you, and before we say goodbye to the viewers tonight. Digital access and Game Pass. Okay, now walk with me here, okay? Microsoft's Game Pass is a model where they offer a subscription for players to be able to access the full library of games, okay? So drawing inspiration from this, do you see or do you believe that there could be a similar subscription-based approach to accessing educational resources for students? Because there's one thing that we haven't talked about, which would be the cost implication for Z-Study. So is it freely available, and would everything on the platform be free? Is there some tiered content which is behind the paywall? And do you see subscription services maybe even beyond Z-Study, but other players or entrants into the space using that?
Yes, so Onechi, it's a two-way answer to that particular question. It's yes and no, and I'll justify why I've said that.
Okay.
So it's a no because of constraint in terms of resources that we have, and networking is one of the major issues. So when you're talking about a subscription pass service, basically what you're saying is that you build a platform, and this platform will be accessed as on pay-as-you-earn kind of a service, so pay-as-you-use. And what's going to happen with that is that this particular service can be accessed from remote. Okay. Now the problem with that is that our networking, our infrastructure is not properly developed. Everybody complains about data. Everybody, right? So that's a no. But on the yes side, we could be able to do this probably along the line of rail. Okay. Those who have been to Zambian universities and colleges, they will tell you to say the day the result comes out, you can't access them. Okay, that's due to the way the infrastructures are done, due to how poor our network is and things like that, right? So it might be quite challenging, and we faced this with Z-Study, by the way. I mentioned that when we were working with the ministry to go and do this stuff in Northwestern Province, our idea was that, there's network in Zambia, so we're just going to go on board them, train them how to use this, and we're done. When it got there, the story was different. But of course, we pivoted quickly and be able to provide this as an offline service so that they can be able to access it within the range of the school. Yeah.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, folks, there you have it. It's been a pleasure on today's episode of Z-Innovates to have a truly great mind and a leader in the space of innovation in education and digital solutions in this country of Zambia. Engineer Kalembo, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for availing yourself for tonight's discussion. And to our dear viewers at home, thanks for tuning in, and be sure to tune in next week. And we have some very, very exciting surprises coming up. Even on the format of the show, We have some very, 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 very interesting things to share. So keep it locked on CBC TV, and we will see you next week at the same time. My name is Onechi. This has been Z-Innovates. Have a good night.